Hey, Foodie Gang, the show will be starting soon. So hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this video, or follow me on Facebook if you are watching from Facebook. And let's get into it. Hey, Foodie Gang, the show will be starting soon. So hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this video, or follow me on Facebook if you are watching from Facebook. And let's get into it. Hey, Foodie Gang, the show will be starting soon. So hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this video, or follow me on Facebook if you are watching from Facebook. And let's get into it. Foodie Gang, Gang, Gang. Foodie Gang, Gang, Gang. Foodie Gang, Gang, Gang. Foodie Gang, Gang, Gang. What is going on, Foodie Gang? What is going on? We are back with another one. This episode, we're actually going to talk about me. I know. I'm usually talking about other people, but I'm going to break down what's going on, and all that stuff. But before you get to that, or before we get to it, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, keep the stove on by sending the super chat, super sticker, or hitting the cash app. And make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. We had to get this one down out the way early, so we up early, y'all, and we're gonna get into it. So Yesterday we were here talking about immigration. Today, like I said, we are going to talk about myself. So I need surgery, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I need surgery. There was a video that was published only on YouTube, and it was telling y'all about the first two surgeries, the first two brain surgeries that I had. Some of you guys may not have seen that video. You know what's crazy? Y'all love the drama. But so I'm gonna replay that video, and everything really started in 2020 for me, but we are now in 2025. So I'm gonna play that video for us. We are gonna review it live on air. I released it as a pre-recorded video, but I did not do a live stream reviewing it. So we are going to review that video together. And then I have another video to share with you guys. And I'm going to bring y'all, so we're going to start in 2020, but I'm going to bring y'all to 2025. So, but let me tell y'all what I ate this morning. Some Cheerios, a little bit of cereal, a little bit of cereal. Speaking of which, there's some updates about cereal too, about General Mills. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, but like I said, today we're gonna talk about myself. And I don't talk about myself a lot. And you know, it's kind of funny because like all these episodes that I do on my channel, I'm cooking, or I'm talking about a hot topic. And shout out to Riaz in the building. Always showing us some love. Y'all make sure y'all check out his YouTube channel. Shout out to young Riaz. He said, I am doing good, fam. So I got 6:43 a.m. here, and I am in Alaska. And I wanted to get this one out of the way early because I got some things to do. But I am going to try to come back here and do some more lives today. So stay tuned, turn the notification bell on so that when we go live, you get notified. Grip said it's 3:43 p.m. in the UK. You know, the thing I love about YouTube and the internet is people be all over the world, and there is no other the media is the best way to get information out, but they be using the media for bad things too, at the same time. But today we're gonna do an informational live stream, and I also want to pull up the medical disclaimer. Okay, I am not a doctor. I know y'all thought I was, but I'm not. And the information provided here should not be considered medical advice. It is important to consult with a healthcare professional. So, I'm going to give you guys my perspective of what I know about this subject. Now, I do not know everything, and I just realized that I got the wrong background on. Here we go. Okay, it's Kitchen Talk with Chef Big Bang. There we go. I am not a doctor. You know what I'm saying? So do your research, but I'm giving you guys my perspective and what I have learned over the last 4 years while having a brain tumor. This is what I've learned. So y'all, I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, but you know, I'm gonna direct you to Google if it gets you crazy. So, but this is my perspective from being a patient, and also someone who has worked in the healthcare field. Now, even with that, I'm not a doctor, y'all. I'm a CMA. It's way different. And okay, and y'all make sure y'all join the channel. So let me get that video pulled up, and I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. And this is the first, we're on Facebook as well. This is the first time that Facebook has ever seen this video. With that being said, if they take us down, they take us down. But the full video is going to be on my YouTube channel as well as this live stream. So, can y'all see what's going on here? Okay, I don't gotta do fair use because this is my content. I made this video. Okay, let me put my headphones on and we're gonna get into the video. And I will say that some of the images in this video are going to be graphic in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. Right, so this is the video. It's 18 minutes, 17 seconds. Okay, I also want to say that I put the last 5 years of my life into 18 minutes. So there are going to be details and things, and there not everything is in here. It's like when they make a book into a movie, you can't get every detail. So that's why we're doing this live stream to really break it down to you guys and to kind of bring you guys up to speed about what is going on. So 5 years into 18 minutes. But this is what I came up with, y'all. Okay, let me play it. I was headed home from work after a long day at work, and then the unthinkable happened. The unthinkable happened. I was hit by another car. Ava was in the back seat. This is how one car accident changed my life in ways I could never have imagined. After the car accident, my dad told me to go home and get some rest. And then the next day, he wanted me to go to the ER to get myself and Ava examined because she was in the car also. When I arrived to the ER, it was early in the morning. I made sure I ate, we were showered, ready to go to the hospital. When we were at the hospital, it takes a long time at the hospital. They ran a numerous amount of tests on me and Ava. They checked this out. They asked us so many questions because the thing that brought us into the hospital was a motor vehicle accident. So they had a ton of questions for the both of us. For me, because I did complain of having headaches, they gave me a CT scan, ran my blood, checked my vitals, and all of that. Upon them doing the CT scan, they found a very large mass in my brain. And I remember when the nurse in the ER came back and told me, he was so apologetic. And he was like, Letitia, I am very sorry, but there is a mass in your brain. We are not sure what it is. We have contacted the on call neurosurgeon for the ER, and he wants to send you down to an MRI. And when I do the MRIs, this is how it looks. They put the gate over my head, and they want to make sure that my head is not moving and is very secure. This was the first time I had ever had an MRI, and I've always heard about them, but I never myself needed an MRI. So then, after I did the MRI, the neurosurgeon interprets the results of the brain scan. My MRIs are about 45 minutes long. And the last 15 minutes, they do contrast through the IV so that they can see, all the areas of my brain. I want you guys to keep in mind that this was a long period of time. I had been in the hospital all day, and the hospital staff, the ER staff, they actually wanted someone to come pick Ava up because they knew I was going to be there for a long time. I feel like they knew something was not right, and me just coming in there for a car accident, I had no idea. So, following an entire day of testing and an MRI, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor and quickly admitted to the hospital with brain surgery planned for the next day. Hours before, the neurosurgeon used a marker to indicate my head. So everything was just moving so fast. The neurosurgeon came in and spoke with me, let me know what was going on, and said that we had to do brain surgery the next day and that it was an emergency. I was admitted to the hospital. I had to beg for my last meal, you guys. I had been there all day and I'm like, look, let me eat, please. One of the things that you have to do when you have surgery is you have to sign a lot of paperwork. So here I am with brain surgery scheduled for the next day. So at this point in time, everything, this was all in one day. And I went in for a car accident, and this is how it all ended up. And I was just, honestly, I was completely in shock and in disbelief that you could be leaving work perfectly fine, and then one thing could happen that could change your life forever. And we hear them say that a lot, but to experience it is a totally different thing. So I was leaving work on a Friday when the accident happened. This is Saturday, right? I had the brain surgery on Sunday. So it happened so fast that honestly, I wasn't even able to tell people, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I had just moved to Alaska 4 months prior to the surgery. And it just came out of shock to everybody. But I will say this, I am so thankful that God had his hand on my shoulder and walked me into the hospital. Because had he not walked me into the hospital, I could have passed away in my sleep. I could have had a really bad fall and broke something. So I am just thankful that not only did he walk me into the hospital, but he set it up so where I would have medical insurance. My daughter would be taken care of. Everything was just set up for me. He was just like, I need you to come to the hospital. And hey, fear no mortals, how are you doing, girl? We are breaking down the video, telling y'all about my testimony, and I'm telling y'all about the surgery I have coming up. She said 907, and y'all make sure y'all check out her YouTube channel. She be over there preaching and praying, really great conversations. It is God-based content. She said like, subscribe, share, share, share. Yes. So I was just in complete disbelief, and honestly, to feel the work of God, like to be in the middle of a miracle, like we always hear about it, but it's like I was crying, not tears of sadness, but tears of like, oh my gosh, I just like felt God protecting me. And it was overwhelming because I had never experienced it in that way. And just knowing how everything was like just set up for me. And for so long, thank you so much, F&M. Um, When I moved back to Alaska, I was sad because I ended up getting a divorce in 2020 also, and then I moved back home. And so I felt sad. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like why is all this happening to me? But then when this happened, I understood. I understood everything that was going on. And sometimes things will happen in our life and we don't understand the why at that point in time, but it may come a couple months later. It may come uh, a year later or years later. So this is why you're doing this. This is why you're in this situation. But I was just very thankful. I would never have wanted to do a surgery like this and not be around my family because I needed the help of everyone at this time. I'm signing power of attorney. And at the time of this, I was 27 years old. So I did not have a will, of course. And so it all happened so quick. I'm signing major documents, but here's the timeline. December 11th was the car accident. December 12th, we have the brain tumor diagnosis. And December 13th, we have emergency brain surgery. As I am being rolled down to the operating room, I am just thinking, oh my goodness, it is now Sunday. On Friday, I left work, went to pick up my daughter, and was on my way home. And I just cannot believe that all this is going on. It was like I was being carried by God. I was in shock. And so the operating room is very, very bright. They wheeled me down the hallway, and then there's like a waiting room, right? And in that waiting room, I'm signing more documents. I'm just in shock. Because my tumor was on the right side towards the back, they used the park bench positioning. It's the surgical stance used in neurosurgery where the patient leans forward, mimicking someone sitting on a park bench. So I did not learn of this position until after my two brain surgeries. 8 months later, I actually went to medical school to become a CMA, and I also wanted to have more understanding of what actually went on. And when I would go in to see the neurosurgeon, I would bring a list of questions. And one of the questions I had was what seating position was I in? Because the positions that I learned in school, none of them would have worked. So this is what he explained to me, and this all makes sense because when I woke up from surgery, y'all, it literally felt like I was run over by a truck. I don't know if you guys have experienced surgery before, but it's really, really hard on your body. One of the things that I did have on my side was my age at the time of the surgery. And they expected me to make a full recovery, but with surgery, there's always risk. There's risk. So this was the seating position that I was in, and then tumor is in the back of my head on the right side. I'm gonna show y'all a picture of the brain, and I'm gonna break it down. And best friend, how are you doing? She said, I'm here to cry again. Let me let y'all know something. This is gonna be an emotional live stream. We probably all gonna cry. We're gonna pray. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be an emotional one. And F&M said, wow, good information. Yes, I had to go to school, medical school after this, because I was like, let me see if these people is lying to me or not. But they were telling the truth about everything. And going through this process as a patient and not really understanding everything, I wanted to get more knowledge. And so then coming at it from like the professional side, it brought a lot of insight and a lot of understanding. And this brain tumor is something that I will be dealing with for the rest of my life. So I wanted to get educated on it. And I'm gonna explain to you guys why I'm gonna be dealing with it for the rest of my life. But let's get back into the video. And I was just very, very nervous. I just remember being wheeled into the operating room. The doctor introduced himself and he introduced his team. And one thing I will say is I was in shock that they were able to get the room situated and everything set up so fast on the last minute notice. But I'm so thankful to the doctor that was on call for neurosurgery. He really saved my life. They hopped right in to help me, and they answered as many questions as possible. I didn't even know what questions to ask. So I didn't even really know what was going on. And it was a very long operation. Okay, so let me clarify. When I said I didn't really know what was going on, because that I was like, I was in shock. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I it was crazy. Like I thought of all the questions that I had after I got out of the hospital and all that. But I don't know. I feel like I was like floating through it. Once they said you got something in your brain, I feel like my head instantly started hurting, and I was like, and then I found out because I asked the neurosurgeon, well, how could this have come about? He said that I was born with this brain tumor that was formed in the womb as a baby, and over time it has grown. So I've had this brain tumor my whole life, but when I was 27 is when it had grown so big where I was losing my balance, having double vision, blurry vision. But even though I had all those symptoms, y'all know how we are. We don't go to the hospital like that. I never would have thought it was a brain tumor though. Like that is nobody's gonna think that. So it's having all those symptoms, but I didn't think anything of it. It was the car accident that actually brought me into the hospital. And I one of the things I remember them saying is that after you have brain surgery, you go into the ICU because your brain is going to swell. And what they put in was a brain drain. So that well, I called it a brain drain. I don't know if that's a medical term. Okay, y'all. So I know there's some stuff on my face, but keep in mind I just had brain surgery. So this is pretty much like I said, your brain's gonna swell, so they put in a temporary drain so that your brain can the swelling, your brain can like let some of the fluid off. But like I said, I am not a doctor. This is my understanding from what I know. So I'm in the ICU for 10 days, or sorry, for 2 days. I'm in the ICU. At this point in time, they are giving me IV pain medication and steroids. The steroids are to help the swelling so that to help with the swelling because like I said afterwards your brain will swell after surgery. The steroids are kind of to help with that. And they were giving me IV steroids, IV pain medication, but the nurses, shout out to the nurses, they were so sweet. I was like, "Can you take a picture so I can see it?" Man, I like the nurses were so great and they all could not believe that the reason that I came to the hospital. Um and I think, and that's I thank God every day that you survived this and I was able to meet you. And I'm glad that I was able to meet all of you too. And what I will say is a lot of people in my real life, I said my normal life, in my life do not even know I had brain surgery. They probably have never seen these pictures. That is because it all happened so fast that I didn't have time to tell everybody. But my um, sisters, in my family, they want me to tell this story, and I think that this story will help a lot of people. And I feel like there's a reason why God put me up to this YouTube channel, the media and all that stuff. But y'all see my hair? My hair was so cute when I went into the hospital. I was so mad. I had singles and they were black and blue, and I had some gold twine in there. I was so mad because I was like, I love that hair. It was so cute. But that was the last weave I got. And then all this happened. So yeah, that's the drain. This is where they put the drain, and then the surgery was like in the back. Um, it's so that the CSF fluid can drain out, and so that your brain doesn't swell too much. So this helps regulate the pressure in your brain so that you can heal properly. Because immediately after brain surgery, your brain swells. So this is me in the ICU. Okay, like I said, disclaimer, we're going to have some graphic images. Okay, so this right here in the back, where you see the white gauze, that is where they actually did the brain surgery. And then under this gauze, there is staples. And then in the front is the drain. I know y'all might not like looking at it, but this is something that you guys probably would never meet somebody that has had a brain tumor, brain surgery. And F&M said, yes, your testimony is going to help and inspire others. One thing I will say is, once I announced that I had a brain tumor and I was telling a little bit of my story, there have been so many people that have come forward on my YouTube channel and tell me similar stories about their illness or sickness or some of the things that they have gone through. And I feel like, we could all sit up in here and act like we're better than everybody else, but at the end of the day, we're all normal people. Normal, you know what I'm saying? Normal people are going to go through things. So, 2 days in the ICU, because when they have that drain in, they don't want to have you on the regular floor. And oh my God, the ICU is so irritating. This is so much beeping. And you know what I'm saying? It's the ICU. About 2 days after the brain surgery. One thing that happens a lot when you are getting brain surgery or when you have brain surgery, you have to do a lot of MRIs because they have to see what is going on after the surgery, before the surgery, a couple of days later. So I had a lot of MRIs, and for someone that has never had an MRI in her life, it was a lot. It was a lot. So I am now out of the ICU. They have taken out the drain. I'm still not able to walk. So after brain surgery, I had to learn how to walk again. So one thing I was glad about is that I had my hair done and my eyebrows done. And some of my eyebrows is on fleek in this picture. So after having brain surgery, it was weird. It's like all my muscle memory was completely wiped away. And what I mean when I say that was like I couldn't walk. It took a lot of work to like lift my arms up. And like your brain is literally the command center for your whole body. So just imagine somebody goes and turns off your computer and then they turn it back on after a long time or after you have a virus. It felt like that. So, but I'm thankful to be alive because one thing I can say is if you have breath in your body, it is another day where you could try, you can continue to work hard. So that's why I'm smiling in my pictures because I'm happy to be alive. Because I can, get help and learn how to walk, but I can't get my life back. And after the surgery, it kind of looks it looks very similar to um a stroke victim. So this side of my face, the right side of my face actually dropped and it looked like I had a stroke. It's how it looked when I was talking and stuff. But like I said, I was happy I was alive, y'all. You got to count your blessings while you got them. And I had a lot to learn a lot. So December 23rd was my second emergency brain surgery due to acute hydrocephalus, which is another thing I had never heard of in my life. So what hydrocephalus is a buildup of CSF fluid in the brain and can be present at birth or so this is what hydrocephalus is. It means hydra means water and cephalus means head. A lot of people refer to this as water on the brain, and you will see a lot of babies really be affected by this, and they will have enlarged head. In my case, I looked normal. I looked normal, like I didn't have an enlarged head. But hydrocephalus can happen after a brain surgery or a brain injury. And that's also why they were keeping me in the hospital. But before this, I was like set to go to rehab like 2 days. I was set to go to rehab in 2 days. And then this whole situation happened. There again, I was very thankful that I was still in the hospital when this occurred. And F&M said, "Yes, so grateful you made it through, and you were grateful. God is blessing you." Yeah, I was happy. I was happy I was alive because it's like all this material stuff that we idolize, all this other stuff as far as like money and material stuff. That stuff can be lost and gained back. You can get all that back, but what you can't get back is your life. Is your life. So I feel like a lot of us need to be thankful out here. Stop complaining. Be happy what you got. Count the blessings that you have. And thank you so much, F&M. Y'all share this video. There may be someone that has some type of serious illness. They may have a brain tumor themselves, or there are so many people that have something wrong, or whether it's a pre-existing condition or something that occurs in life, they could feel like giving up. And what I want to say is I don't think you should give up, especially if you are still breathing, because that means that God has not given up on you. Yes, life is, let's see, this is why I was happy. I was like, whoo, I got my life. I can't walk. You know what I'm saying? My face jacked up, but I know I got my life. That's just a good starting point. So this is what hydrocephalus is. So got some pictures here. And this is no hydrocephalus, and this is the fluid, and this is hydrocephalus. And you can see the amount of fluid, and what it does is it puts a lot of pressure on your brain. If something happens, if you have like a brain injury or stuff, what the body will do, and like I said, I'm not a medical doctor, this is from my understanding, my perspective. What the body will do is put you into a coma to preserve and to save your life. So that's what happened when I was in the hospital. I had hydrocephalus, did not know it, and I fell into a coma. They consider it to be unresponsive, but it's still a coma. So the brain is amazing. Hey, Angela, how are you doing? Angela, how are you doing? The brain is very amazing and very smart. It was incredible. Like I feel like this story would be more fascinating if it wasn't my own, but it is my story. Happen later. It is one of the most common birth defects. Hydro means water, cephalus means head. So this condition is known as fluid on the brain. But in my situation, I had acute hydrocephalus, which is a rapid buildup of CSF fluid in the brain's ventricles, causing increased pressure. And what ended up happening is that when the CMA came in to check my vitals, I was unconscious. So she paged the doctor came running, and I was unconscious. So this is what I've been told, from my people. The doctor came running, they took me down, and they put an emergency drain in my brain so that they could reduce some of the pressure. Then I underwent my second surgery to place a VP shunt to relieve the pressure in my brain. It was so weird for me because I felt like this. I woke up, the doctor was talking. He was like, Letitia, you passed out. We're going to take you down to surgery. I felt like I went back to sleep. I woke back up. I was in the operating room. The doctor is standing over me and he's like, hey, we have a stomach doctor here to help with the stomach portion of the VP shunt. And then he introduced the team. I feel like I went back to sleep, woke up, and I was back in my room. My sister told me it was about 3 days. So this is what a VP shunt is. And shunt surgery is a surgical procedure that involves insertion of a drainage system into the. Hey, anything good? How are you doing? How are you doing? Shout out to y'all. So I need surgery, and I'm telling you guys why. But before we get to that part, I'm going back to 2020, and I'm walking you guys through the first two brain surgeries. And anything good said, I know you will you find you are a living angel. Thank you so much. So this is what a VP shunt looks like. A lot of times you will see this inserted to help with hydrocephalus. What it is in a nutshell is a permanent drain. Once you have hydrocephalus, your they don't want your brain cannot function on its own. And I don't think that it's really smart to try, because if you do, it cannot be good. So this is what I have. This is a VP shunt. And so you see it's inserted through the brain. It goes down into the abdomen, and it comes out with the excess fluid comes out with your urine. Now, CSF fluid is clear. How do I know? Because when I was in the hospital, I had the temporary drain, and so I could see the CSF fluid in the bag, and it was clear, and it had a little bit of like blood mixed in with it because I just had the surgery. So it's clear. So when it comes out with my urine, I do not notice it. I know I've had that question a lot. Do you notice it? No, you don't notice it at all. But with having a VP shunt, there are complications that they do worry about. And one of the things that they worry about is an infection. So they tell you if you ever experience these symptoms, get to the hospital. They have told me that, well, they recommended that I live within 30 minutes near a hospital, so if I ever have any complications, I can get to the hospital. So I would not live in a rural area where there are no hospitals around. I would always, for the rest of my life, live near a hospital because I know I have this going on. And anyone with like long-term medical needs, I feel like you should live near a hospital, but do what y'all want to do. So let's get back into the video, y'all. The brain that will remove excess fluid from the brain to another part of the body. So my shot starts in my brain, and what it does is it regulates the pressures in my brain. The excess fluid comes out in my urine, but I don't notice it at all. So after that additional surgery, like I said, every step of the way they're doing MRIs because they need to know what's going on with my brain. So I had another MRI after the VP shunt was placed. I spent about 3 weeks in the hospital. At this time, after my surgery, I couldn't walk. It looked like I had a stroke. I ended up cutting all of my hair off after my two brain surgeries because at the time I had singles and it was just easier to cut it off so I can clean my hair. Okay, you guys know when you go to the hair salon and you get a new hairstyle and you're like, it takes you a couple of days to warm up to it. I have never in my life been bald before. So this is the first time I like really saw my head. And I was so happy I don't have a weird shaped head. But like I said, even though all that was going on, I was so very thankful to have my life. You know, hair can go back. And my hair has grown a lot in 5 years. But hair can grow back, you can get clothes, you can learn how to walk again, but you cannot get your life back. But it was during COVID. or this is, yeah, 2020. No visitors the whole time I was in the hospital. All of my doctors, they all wore masks. I had to go online to look and see how my doctor actually looked because everybody had masks on. There was no visitors, but yes, it's so amazing, and I feel like God has given these people the knowledge to be able to help people and save lives. And I'm so thankful that they were able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me more years on my life. Because without the doctors, without God, I wouldn't even be here. I was very thankful. But Angela said it's amazing what kind of medical devices and procedures they have to save lives. And when I was in the MRI, I was like, who thought of this? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it is just amazing all the technology that they have. And like I said, God has given these people the knowledge. He has blessed their hands. You know what I'm saying? Like he has covered them and they are here to help people. So I was very thankful. But I ended up cutting my hair because I had singles and it was COVID, so I couldn't get no visitors. So I called the front desk and I was like, hey, can I have one of my family members come in to help me with my hair? They was like, no. So they sent in this she wasn't a nurse, she wasn't a CMA, she was probably like she would go around and help the patients and like clean the room. I think she was Filipino, but she came in and cut my hair off with some scissors. And she was like, you can cry if you want to. I was like, look, lady, I done been through all this, 2 brain surgeries, I'm done. I was like, it's just hair. You know what I'm saying? But I was happy that my hair was not like my head wasn't weird shaped or nothing like that. I embraced my short hair because I felt like maybe this is what God wanted me to do. Maybe He wanted me to not have no hair. You know what I'm saying? So I embraced it. I rocked my little it. My hair grew really, really fast. I had an afro. I wore it for like 3 years. I just recently put dreads in my hair. And F&M said, right, your hair doesn't make you. You have a lovely face. And in the beginning, I feel like this process made me really love myself because I didn't do wigs, but I would get like braids, I would do crochet, and now I'm in this situation where my hair is sensitive and I have to clean my hair, so I couldn't even wear weaves. And also my hair, I had the scars and all that stuff. So this situation really taught me to love myself. And it really taught me that hair does not make me. You know what I'm saying? So like it taught me to learn to love myself. But yes, y'all, eyebrows still on fleek. And anything good said, thank you God for giving us this angel. Thank you for keeping Ava's mom here. Amen. Yes. And shout out to Ava because she was 3 at the time. We had just moved to Alaska 4 months prior to this whole situation. She knew my people, but she didn't really know them like that. Because Ava was born in Oregon, we lived in Oregon, we moved to Alaska 4 months prior to this. So she knew them, but not as much as she knows them now. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to hurry up and recover and get back to my baby. And one of the things I had to stop doing, man, look, I'm about to put the disclaimer up, so I'm going to talk about these prescription meds or these pain meds. Okay, so they were giving me IV pain meds, which is completely understandable. I was in a lot of pain. But one of the things that they wanted me to do is that they were taking me on walks and they were helping me work out. I had physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy in the hospital. With the IV meds, it was really hard for me to learn how to walk because I would always be super like dizzy, high. So I weaned myself, or I told them, I said, I don't want no more IV meds. Give me some pills. Give me some pain pills. IV meds is too strong for me. So I told them I didn't want no IV meds. So I started taking like I think it was Percocets. I have never experienced those type of pain meds through my IV, and it scared me. It scared me because I was like, I can see how people can get addicted to this. It was a scary feeling. I didn't like it. And they were like, "Are you in pain?" "Yeah, I'm in pain. I just had brain surgery." But that don't mean I want you to come up in here and shoot a whole bunch of morphine into my IV. Like, that don't mean that. So, but those pain meds, man, they are very, very strong. It was definitely needed in the beginning, but as soon as I got to a point where I could start taking pain pills, because after the surgery, they have to make sure that you can swallow, or you know what I'm saying? Like they don't want you to choke. So had to get off those pain meds ASAP, or the IV pain meds, too strong, very, very scary. I could see how people couldn't get addicted. I can see how you can have a back surgery, a heart surgery, a brain surgery, get IV pain meds, and become addicted. I can definitely see it. Amen. Your personality shows the love you have for yourself. This is so awesome because many people struggle with that. And you know what? It was so fun. My brother, shout out to my brother, my big brother. He was like, they call me TT, that's my nickname. He was like, TT, I hope you don't start wearing wigs. I'm like, bro, he's always talking mess, but he did not want me to start wearing wigs. He wanted me to go natural. And I just thought it was so funny. Like, I'm going through all this and you talking about a wig right now. And hey, Stanley, how are you doing? How are you doing? Um, yeah, y'all, my family is all about being natural. Y'all see us, we don't be having nails on, wigs and weaves. Or sometimes my sister, she will get braids, but we don't do the wigs. There's nothing wrong with wigs. If you want to wear wigs, that's no problem. But my family don't really care for them like that. So let's get back into the video, y'all. So I was completely bald headed, but I was happy. Okay, I just saw something. You guys see this teddy bear back here with this banana? Let me tell y'all the story. This is Jesus. Okay. When I was a little girl, my mom got this for me out of the vending machine. This teddy bear has stayed in our family for 20 years. I still have it. Now I still have it. So this teddy bear, it's a monkey with a banana, and we call him Jesus. My mom got me this when I was a little girl, and I thought I had lost it. But my brother had the stuffed animal and actually brought it to the hospital. Now I have given this stuffed animal to our family. Jesus has been in our family for 20 years. But yeah, my brother was like, I hope you don't start wearing wigs. I'm like, bro. And you know what he told me when I when I started doing YouTube and I was like blowing up a little bit, he was like, I hope you don't get no BBL. I'm like, bro, I'm not doing that. But my brother is so funny, and he's the type of person that will always throw a joke in there. Um no matter what you're going through. But this teddy bear right here has stayed in our family for 20 plus years. Now I have given it to Ava. It is on her shelf. My mom bought this for me when I was a little girl. And I'm just okay, but I'm gonna get back to the video. I just wanted to tell y'all about that teddy bear or the monkey. And we call him Jesus. He stayed in my family for 20 years. My brother, so I couldn't have visitors. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I couldn't have visitors because it was COVID. So they were dropping things off to me at the front desk. They was not playing during COVID. Singles. And it was just easier to cut it off so I could clean my hair. So I was completely bald headed, but I was happy because I made it, y'all. So December 29th, I was discharged from the hospital and sent to a rehab facility. This is not the type of rehab that you go to for drugs. This is the type of rehab that you go to after you have a life changing surgery. And now I needed to learn how to live post surgery. In rehab, one of the things that they really helped me on was learning how to walk again. It was weird. It was like I was a baby again. It was like my muscle memory, the slate was completely wiped clean. So we did walking exercises. They would use this thing called a gait belt, and we did all type of little obstacles. I did board games, puzzles. I spent about a week in the rehab facility. They also had a kitchen at rehab because rehab teaches you how to get back into real life. So they took me in the kitchen. I made an omelet. They saw my knife skills and they said, "You got some experience." So January 7th, 2021, I was discharged from rehab. I during my surgery, during this whole phase, it was post COVID, no visitors. Everyone had a mask on. I was so afraid, but I was able to see my baby again, and I just remember because I was bald. I'm bald now. I took my hat off because it's winter, and my nephew was like, what happened to your hair?" I was like, "It's a whole lot." So after I got out of rehab in the hospital, I did outpatient therapy, which included physical, speech, and occupational therapy. There would be some weeks when I would have. Okay, so there are different types of therapy that help with different functions. So physical therapy is where they're like teaching you how to walk, how to go up steps. You're working out on the treadmill. You'll see this commonly used after like a foot injury or maybe like an arm injury. You'll see that used. So physical therapy is like when they're helping you to walk, go upstairs. They want to teach you how to, pretty much navigate through life. Um, Speech therapy is where they help you, with your speech. Because, like I said, after the surgery, it looked like I had a stroke. And so, and then every tumor is different because of the location of the tumor, right? That changes it. So, and you know what? FNM, that's a great question. I'm going to get to this. Occupational therapy is like your motor skills. So, when you're going to like turn the car on and you're doing like this, so it helps more with your motor skills. And so they had a lot of pegboards. Um and we would be working on like a lot of like hand movements. They have this one machine where it's like it changes the top of it. So one of them's like a key, one of them's like a dial that you turn. So they want to make sure that you get your motor skills together. Okay, and Blade's always coming here making jokes. Blade's we having a serious conversation. Okay, this is the interesting part. F and M said, "Do you have trouble speaking?" All my life, I have had a speech impediment, and so I stuttered a lot, which is why I'm so surprised and so grateful that after my two surgeries, my stuttering went away. And now I'm a good public speaker. But with the way I was stuttering, I would never be up here talking to y'all. Y'all would be clowning me. So my speech actually, in a way, kind of cleared up after the surgery. But I still did speech therapy because they were trying to get my muscles relaxed on one side of my face, and they were trying to get a little bit of symmetry back. And recently the neurosurgeon was like, "Do you want to go to occupational therapy before your surgery?" And I told her no because I was doing something. I was doing physical. I'm doing physical therapy with Ava, so my speech actually cleared up. And I used to have a really bad speech impediment, and that is one of the reasons why they bullied me so much in school. But you know what? I think I'm winning now. But we're not ain't winning petty like that. And then shout out to my sister, she's in the building. And then Blaze said, "Oh, look at Ava with her mom, who still owes me a plate. Blaze, you better come get it quick." And yes, I had a really bad speech impediment. I used to stutter so bad, y'all. They would talk about me, they would tease me. And Blake said, "Listen, I was in the neighborhood and I wanted to stop by and bring a little levity. Am I saying that word right? Please, you're always welcome here." And I've been making jokes too. You got to in life, especially when you have a tense moment, because at the end of the day, you're still here. So you know what I'm saying? Um, Miss Olisky said, "Do you think tumor has something to do with speech? I've always wondered if it did." Yes, and I did not learn this until after my surgery. The part of the brain where my tumor is in my cerebellum in the brain stem, which is in the back of my head. Your brain stem leads to like your spinal cord and all that stuff. So it's pretty serious surgery. The cerebellum has to do with coordination. And a lot of the times when I was speaking, I feel like that is why I was stuttering. Now, they never told me this. This is just what I assume. Like I said, I am not a medical doctor. And I also have a picture of the brain, and I'm going to show you guys that too. So the part of the brain where my tumor is in the cerebellum, which is in the bottom of your brain pretty much. So that part of your brain deals with coordination and balance. Before the surgery, I had a really bad speech impediment. I was stuttering like crazy. Right after my two brain surgeries, I stopped stuttering. And I didn't even notice it until I was talking to one of my old friends from Oregon who actually did my braids. She was like, "You sound so clear." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't stutter anymore." And that is the only reason why I'm up here talking in a public speaker now. Because when I had that stuttering, I would be so afraid in the classroom. You know how you like everybody reads a line? I used to hate when they would call on me because I knew I was going to stutter. And after them said, "OMG, look at God, cleared the speech right on up." Yes, it was crazy. So I never would have thought it was a brain tumor that was causing me to stutter. And now, like I said, I'm not a medical doctor. There are a lot of people who have speech impediments, and I'm not saying that they are all caused by a brain tumor because I am not a doctor. But I think mine was caused by the brain tumor. And then Blaze said, "You got the names of the bullies that look, bullies got their karma in life. Don't even worry about it. God humbled them." God humbled them. You know, God took care of that. And that's another thing. Look, let God handle the enemies, okay? Yeah, and you know what? That's what I didn't get is I feel like they always pick on the nice people or the people that are the chosen ones, in my opinion. But sis said, laugh aloud, they all got humbled in a worse way. Look, life humbled them, God humbled them. Sometimes God got to sit you down and pick you back up. Okay, but we don't get into the video. I just wanted to go over with you guys that there are different types of therapy. Right now, Ava is doing physical therapy because she fractured her toe. After my surgery, I will have to do all three types of therapy: physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. And it's gonna be very, very busy for your girl. Okay, this is shout out to Ava. I was so proud of myself because after I got out of the hospital, I think a couple months later, I braided her hair. And I will say this, when I first started braiding, after a couple of hours, it would give me a headache because I would have to focus so much. So this was a big accomplishment for me to be able to do her hair. And wait till y'all see her hair. I just did it the other day. It's so freaking cute. But this is a big accomplishment for me. And we went to Hawaii 5 months after. No, was it 5 months? We went to Hawaii after my surgery. I was like, look, I need to take a trip. And this was the hair that she wore to Hawaii. And that's my little fro. My hair grew fast, y'all. Even now, my dreads are really, really long. Patient therapy, which included physical, speech, and occupational therapy. There would be some weeks when I would have 5 to 10 appointments. It was so hectic. But after about 6 months, I completed therapy. And I just want to say, you know, glory be to God because He led me to the hospital and He carried me through that process. And here I am. But after the surgery, your girl went to Hawaii. So that is us in Hawaii on the beach. And y'all see, I was rocking my short hair. Okay, I was froed up. And then okay, so sis got the clarification. She said it was like 5 or 6 months, maybe. Yes, it was. I was still in therapy during this time, and my physical therapist was like, "Do not wear flip flops. You can't walk that well. You need to learn how to walk." She was like, "Don't wear flip flops." During this time, I was wearing a backpack, but she was like, "Don't wear flip flops." But this is Ava. She looks so cute. She had the blue hair. That was the sun. That is my short hair. So my hair grows fast. And what I would say is that they always talk about the big chop. Right, when you cut all your hair off and you let it grow back naturally. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I wasn't doing the big chop. I wanted to keep my hair, but during this situation, I was forced to cut all my hair off. But I was curious to see how my hair would grow back and what it would be like. But that is Ava. She is so cute, y'all. She and my nephew, because the whole family went. Kiki went, Toya went, my nephew went, Toya's son. They have sand everywhere. was like, we ain't going to the beach no more. They had sand everywhere. But it was an honor to be able to take our kids on a trip like this because I was 16 the first time I left Alaska. And for our kids to be so young, and we're in Hawaii, it was just so beautiful waking up and seeing all that sun. Yes, Blaze. Shout out to Blaze. He came with the idea. Ava is getting her own celebration live stream. We are going to do it this weekend, right? So I'm gonna take her to the store, let her pick out some food. She wants to do a fruit salad. And then we're gonna go to Toy's house and take off Toy's snacks. Cause Miss Solistic be having the snacks on deck. We are doing Ava's celebration live stream this weekend. Yes, Ava is so adorable. Everyone loved her hair in Hawaii. And I had like these little sandal heels for her. It was so cute. And yes, Freedom Immortals. I'm glad that Toya, I have Miss Solistic in my life as well. I feel like the people that you have around you, when they're good people that genuinely care and want to help you, it's a blessing. Let's be real. We all know somebody that doesn't have people or doesn't have a good support system. So it is a blessing. I'm very blessed to have the family that I have. And, I'm very blessed that God sent me back here all those years ago. And I'm blessed that Ava can be raised around her family. Family is very important. Look, the sand was crazy, y'all. I'm talking about everywhere. Okay, so I feel like Ava went on the beach and just like dumped sand all on her head. I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing?" Yes, and Miss Alyssa on my OMG laugh out. The sand was crazy. Backseat was full of sand. Yeah, so when we went to Hawaii, we got a rental. And shout out to the car washes in Hawaii. The car washes in Hawaii will wash your car and vacuum your car out for $10. We gotta go back to Hawaii. Yes, Blake, you gotta let them bullies handle themselves. And yes, this weekend we are doing a celebration live stream for Ava. Um, I'm still working on time in the day. But she wants to do a fruit salad. We got some snacks there. But she, look at her. She is so cute. I went back to school 8 months after my brain surgery to become a CMA because I was inspired at the time. I was able to enroll Ava in a really awesome preschool program. So we always made this like little joke, like we're going back to school together. And in that program, they actually did gymnastics for 1 hour a day. Then I had a Chromebook from school and I started a YouTube channel, which is Ava's Playtime, making kids content. Ava always wanted a YouTube channel. Her friend started it for her, and then I took over. And then I created 907 Goodies because I absolutely love to cook. And even though I don't work in the kitchen, I still want to cook. So I started Ava's Playtime, 907 Goodies, and I've had those channels for about 2 years now, and it's going great. And another thing that I discovered when I started making content is I love taking videos and pictures. So Ava will always have these memories of us and her mom. So we love making content. We went around Alaska for 2 years shooting hundreds and hundreds of videos. In 2 years, we have put over 1,000 videos on YouTube. And I'm going to continue to make content. We're going to continue to make content because we love it and we love talking to all y'all. And every video that we've made is a different concept. So we did not know we were going to be content creators, but here we are, and we're content creators now, and we absolutely love it, and we enjoy making content. So on Ava's Playtime, we do a numerous amount of things. It is playtime. So literally everything you can think of, whether that's making drinks in the park, gymnastics, sledding, all type of stuff. Never give up. Always put your trust in God and just take it one day at a time and stay prayed up. But that is it for this video. Like, subscribe, share, and join the channel. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Okay, so that is the video. This is going to be on the video tab of my page. So yes, I actually started with Ava's Playtime making children's content. Got over here to 907 Good Eats, and then I was exposed to the dark side of YouTube. And now I went back over here. I'm like, look, y'all ain't gonna get me. And then Blake said, if you quit, I'm revoking my 5-star food review. Dang, what's all the food I done cook for y'all over here? You gonna do me like that? And then after them said, I love the pictures. You're a great mom. During this process, I was thankful to be a mom. I was thankful to have made it. And I enjoy every moment. Cause I could not have made it. And then I would say like probably a year later, Nick Cannon's son lost his life to a brain tumor. And when I heard that story, I cried so hard. And that's another reason why I feel like it's doesn't even feel right for me to complain because there are people that have brain tumors that don't make it. There are people that go into the hospital and have surgery and don't make it. So I feel like, I should be one of the people that's thankful, that should not cry, should be, honored to be a mother, happy to be a mom. And my heart goes out to Ava because even though she's the young one here, you know what I'm saying? So I always try to be the best parent I can be because I'm thinking of that. It's like it's not right of me to like sit around and complain and mope and cry. Like this is her whole life, you know what I'm saying? So, and I want her to be happy, and she is a happy kid. Ava is so funny. Okay, y'all. So this was in 2020, right? Fast forward to today. They told me that I need a third brain surgery. And I'm going to have that third brain surgery in less than a week. I did this live stream to show you guys and to share with you guys what is going on. When I created this platform and when I created Ava's Playtime, I knew that there could be a day where I would have to go back in for another surgery. So I did not want to create my content based off of my looks. I wanted to create my content based off of my actual talent because I knew that there may be a day where I need to go faceless or I may, might not be able to be on the camera. Um, yes, I agree with you on this F&M because you think about it. If I would have spent the last 5 years of my life crying and complaining, that would have been 5 years of Ava's life that wouldn't have been productive. That would have been a bunch of time that I would have lost. And even though I'm going through what I'm going through as far as my health, there are still things that I can teach people and can show people. I did not know this, but y'all don't know how to cook out here. Not y'all food gang, because y'all been watching me, so y'all know how to do a little something, something. But there's people out here that don't know how to cook. And so even though I'm going through what I'm going through, I can still teach people, how to cook, activities to do with your child, things like that. And after them say, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. I think I already read that comment. But yes, don't stay in the dark place because if God gives you breath and you can do this and you can breathe, it's another day to work hard. Blake said, look, it's natural to be concerned about your health. And sometimes you're gonna have rainy days when it comes to that. But if there's one thing I love about you, it's your perseverance. I do not think that anybody should give up, especially when you have kids. That is one of the things that has motivated me during this time because I'm thinking like there's somebody else here. You know what I'm saying? I still gotta make it through for her. Um, so all right, I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna show you guys an inside look at my brain. What content creators do you know that you could say you've seen their brain? So, during that video, what I did not disclose to you guys is that my tumor was very large, and they told me at the time, we don't know if we can get all of it, but we're going to do our best. You may need more brain surgeries. So what I do is every year I get an MRI. All right. So 45-minute MRI, the last like 15 minutes they do with contrast that they put in through an IV. It is to illuminate areas in my brain. So every year I do an MRI, right? And ever since 2020, my brain tumor has grown, but it is not as big as it was in the beginning. But before it gets so big to where I'm starting to like lose my balance, falling, having double vision, they want to do another brain surgery. And I know what y'all are thinking, but we really don't got no choice. But like I said, I have designed this platform to where, you know what I'm saying, like I call it handicap mode, and that's what we're gonna go into. But I'm gonna show you guys my brain. I'm gonna read some of the chat. And FNM said it's encouragement and therapeutic to do any content helping others. Teaching others to cook is a blessing. Yes, and you know what? I posted a picture the other day and I said, cooking is my happy place. I really love to cook. Um, I did not like working in the kitchen. So this YouTube channel has helped me so much because I get to do what I love to do in the way that I want to do it. And like it really is my happy place. I could be having a bad day, and then I could whip some up real quick, get y'all on the live stream. We have great conversations. So this channel has actually helped me as well, you know. And I feel like it's good to stay busy. When you're not busy, you're kind of like thinking about everything. And Blaze at 907. Now you know you good and well enough. A lot of these people can't show us their brain because they don't have it. Yeah, it's like a peanut up in there. Blaze is so funny. I'm gonna save that comment to the end. Blaze is so funny. And Blaze said, I apologize, it was a reflex. Yes. There are some people out here, woo, I don't know what their brain scan would look like. Blaze is so funny. So I need another surgery. I'm having another surgery in less than a week. It's going to be my third brain surgery. So we're going to go into handicap mode. I'm going to put a couple of my segments on hiatus, like time for tea, putting that on hiatus. The Foodie Gang food panel, the cooking will go on hiatus. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a griddle and I'm gonna do like some sit down and cook with me videos. That's what I'm thinking about with that. I am going to still do do shorts, and I will have some videos lined up. And then as soon as I can, I'll go live with y'all from the hospital or shoot a segment. And I'm not one of those people who's like, I gotta hide. No, I'm gonna come out and show y'all, you know, how I look, what's going on, because we have to be real with ourselves. Every time in life is not going to be a high moment or great. You know what I'm saying? This is like my real life. So I'm gonna show y'all my brain. Blaze is so funny. So this is oh, excuse me. So okay, so I did an MRI in January. After I do my MRIs, because I have a shunt, they have to readjust it. I'm gonna try to find a video of that so I can show y'all how they readjust it. It's some weird scientific stuff. They have like it's like a briefcase, right? That they wheel into the room. And in the briefcase, there is this device. There is a magnet in my shunt, and they put um what's that stuff? You know, like the sonogram gel that you use when you're like pregnant? They put that on my scalp, right? And then this magnet, it does something in the machine and it clicks my shunt back to the proper setting. It is some weird stuff going on here. I don't know who designed this. I don't know what's going on. Hey Brandon, how are you doing? How are you doing? Okay. So I'm gonna show you guys my MRI. I did one in January, and in January, that is when the neurosurgeon was like, "I think we need to do another surgery this year." And then I also did another MRI. I think on the 20th or the 20th, I believe. I did another MRI. They're gonna use all these images. It's a whole lot, y'all. But let me play this video. And like I said, I'm not a medical doctor, okay? I'm just giving y'all my perspective from what I think. And Brandon said, I love you. Yeah. And there is some sound in certain parts. Okay, so this is from 2020. This is the MRI, and the arrow is pointing to the tumor. This is a 3D video, pretty much, of the MRI. And I'm going to play this video a couple of times because I'm not going to lie. When they showed me the MRI, I was looking at the wrong dot. I did not get it. Now, at the time of my first two brain surgeries, my tumor was 5 centimeters. The size of you know those cuties, the small like little oranges, or they call them tangerines, I think. So that's how big it was at the time when it was first discovered. And yes, Blaze, I know that's right. He said you come first before YouTube. Nothing wrong with still doing things for your platform, just as long as it doesn't interfere with the healing process. Remember, you come before this. I look, I'm already knowing that. That's why y'all don't see me at certain channels, because I come first. Okay, they ain't gonna ruin my brain. So I'm gonna play this video a couple of times. Right there, you guys can see how large my tumor is. This is a 3D scan, okay? That's why we are seeing it moving. And this is also an MRI. In the next clip, we're going to fast forward to 2000. Yes, it was very, very big. And that's why the neurosurgeon told me, he was like, I can't believe you even walked in here. They was looking at me like, this is crazy. But they couldn't even believe I walked into the hospital for something else. Didn't even go into the hospital for this. Okay, let me move. Okay, this is 2025. The arrow is pointing to the tumor. So you guys can see that it has decreased in size a lot, right? Before it gets to the 5 centimeters, they want to go back in to reduce more of it because you know how it's better if you catch something early on? It's what's that same type of situation. Before it gets, it's too big, they want to go back in. So here we are, 2025.
You can see your eyeballs up here, and then I'm going to scroll up, and then this is the tumor. I keep scrolling up, and then that's the rest of your brain that looks normal. You've got the shunt, that's from the valve where the shunt is attached to.
And then, do you know how you're going to go in?
Yeah, so the plan is going to be to go from back here, and
So that was the neurosurgeon speaking, and I'm gonna take this back to the beginning, and I'm gonna replay it some more, so we all know what's going on. So the beginning, 5 centimeters, right? We're down to like 2.5, 3. So that's the beginning. Y'all can see how large it is. And these little dots right here are my eyes, which is very weird.
You can see your eyeballs up here. And then I'm going to scroll up. And then this is the tumor. I keep scrolling up, and then that's the rest of your brain that looks normal. You've got the shunt, that's from the valve.
Okay, so this one thing I realized is that this image is kind of flipped because my shunt is really on this side, but this is why I can't be a doctor, and I'm not a doctor, so don't take any of this advice as medical advice. I am just giving you guys my perspective, and I'm telling you my story, okay? Don't go to the doctor and say Big Bang said this. Do not do that, okay? Because Big Bang is not a doctor. Okay, so here we go.
Okay. The shunt is attached to.
And then, do you know how you're going to go in?
Yeah, so the plan is going to be to go from back here. And
Okay, so I asked the doctor how they are going to, go in and how they look. I'll be up in there asking the questions. Okay, I will bring notes, and I will write down my questions and bring them to the doctor. Like I need to know everything, and this is exactly why I went to school to be a CMA because I need to know. And thank you so much, Jaybird. So he said, dang, my friend, I'm praying for you. Thank you so much. I have been praying myself too. And this third surgery is way different from the first two. Because the first two were very sudden. We have had time to like mentally prepare and time to like kind of get things ready. So this is a different experience, but at the same time, if they would have told me this and the first time, I probably would never have come back. So, and thank you so much, Strip. He said, I hope you get better. Thank you so much. Yes, F and M, we gotta ask every question that comes to mind. Yep, how are you gonna do this, lady? Me and Miss Solicit was up in there grilling her. We was like, you think you can do this?
you can see your eyeballs up here. And then I'm going to scroll up. And then this is the tumor. I keep scrolling up, and then that's the rest of your brain that looks normal. You've got the shunt, that's from the valve where the shunt is attached to.
And then, do you know how you're going to go in?
Yeah, so the plan is going to be.
Okay, so what she was telling me was that the plan is to go in from the back of my head, but she also stated in the operating room, or they have some type of technology where they can put all the MRI images onto this certain database, onto this piece of technology, and it'll tell them the best plan or the best pathway to go into the brain. They also said that they were going to use I think she said they were called neural sensors, which are like neural pins. I don't know if they used this the first time or not, but these pins are going to go into like certain areas on my body, and if they they can tell if they nick something, or you know what I'm saying, because it'll go off as a sensor. So, like I said, not a doctor. I don't know, everything. I just know the questions that I'll ask. So, there is also going to be another surgeon present, and you guys, people have these surgeries, there's a team of people there. There's a whole bunch of people that are going to be there, and everybody has a different role. But I'm gonna play that video one more time, and I'm gonna pull up a picture of the brain, and I'm gonna point it out to y'all where my brain tumor is. And Brandon asked me where my tumor was, and I said, "Look, I gotta make sure I have the right point. I have the right location. I'm gonna walk out through it." So this was in 2020. We're at 5 centimeters. Your brain is not that big. So this is 5 centimeters of anything in your body is very big. And I also want to say that this tumor is benign, which means it's not cancerous. But I don't it feels weird to say that it's benign because I'm having a whole brain surgery for it. Hmm.
You can see your eyeballs up here, and then I'm going to scroll up, and then this is the tumor. I keep scrolling up, and then that's the rest of your brain that looks normal. You've got the shunt, that's from the valve where the shunt is attached to.
And then, do you know how you're going to go in?
Yeah, so the plan is going to be to go from back here, and
So one thing about my neurosurgeon is I actually had a different neurosurgeon that conducted the first two surgeries. He has left town. He has moved on. So this is a new neurosurgeon. I am a little bit nervous about that, but during my pre-op appointment, she was amazing. She answered all the questions that me and Miss Solistic had. She also let me take videos of the MRIs, very transparent. I was able to answer all or ask as many questions as I wanted to. And so I feel better about this process, and I also feel like God puts the doctors here to help people. When they tell you that you need something and you don't listen, it can go either way. Fear no more said that is so crazy when you think of how long you had it. Wow. I know. And you know how like it's weird because like after the doctors tell you that you have something wrong with you, you start feeling like, oh, I can't do this because I have this. And I was thinking about that. And I was like, well, I've had a brain tumor my whole life. So nothing is really different besides the fact that I know about it now. So I went to high school, did my whole, high school career. I went off, had a baby, was raising the baby, went to college. I went to culinary school. I like did so many things in my life, worked at so many different jobs. And the whole time I was born with a brain tumor and I never knew it. And then boom, 27 years and I find out about it. Truly crazy. And I'm very thankful that God had his hands on me and he still does to this day. It's crazy experience. Even now, it's a crazy experience. Like just thinking about everything that's going on, I'm like, man, I never thought all this would be my story, but it is my story, and so there's nothing I can do about it but pray about it. Um, I do have my third brain surgery coming up in a couple of days, and I was never gonna dip out and not tell y'all what was going on because that's wrong. I feel like we locked in, we've been rocking for months, we've been up here cooking and talking. So I was never gonna dip out and not tell y'all what's going on. Yes, F&M, and I'm so happy that you're here, F&M, because you like I know I'm saying it, but you're summarizing it perfectly. She said that's a good way of looking at it. There's nothing you can do because you was already doing it. What a blessing. And after my surgery, I was like, oh, I can't do this because I got a brain tumor. Oh, I can't do this. But then I thought about it and I was like, I was already doing all this stuff before. I had already went to college, graduated culinary school, had a brain tumor and never knew it. So why can't I go to school again? Why can't I continue to live my life? You know what I'm saying? Why can't I public speak? Or, be a public speaker? Why can't I inspire others? Why can't I have a cooking channel if My whole life I already had a brain tumor. But yes, that's how I'll be looking at it. And I'm like, there I can do, anything I want to do because I was already doing it before. But once they tell you something is wrong with you, it's like a mental handicap. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole mental handicap. Okay. So that is the MRI. We went over the brain tumor video that I posted on my first two surgeries. Um, I showed y'all the scans. It is a much smaller tumor, but it is still there. It's very slow growing, considering that I'm going to be 32 years old in September. Um, this is also another reason why you guys don't see me arguing with a lot of people. I try to like limit my stress and the people that stress me out. Um, and you know what? I'm gonna put some lip gloss on real quick. You know what? There are so many things in life we could argue about, but there's also a lot we could be thankful for. And I don't feel like God saved my life and put me back here to go around arguing with people. Like I really don't feel like that's my purpose in life, and that's why y'all don't see me arguing with nobody. So I'm gonna show you guys a picture of the brain, and I'm gonna show y'all where my brain tumor is located because somebody asked me this question, and I was like, trying to caught me off guard because I didn't have a picture up, and I want to make sure that I'm correct as possible. But like I said, I am not a doctor, and the information provided here should not be considered medical advice. It is important to consult with the healthcare professional. So, since having the first two brain surgeries, when I actually was in occupational therapy, I had like a stigmatism in my eyes, so my eyes were like fluttering, and I would get dizzy a lot. They actually recommended that I go to the eye doctor and get my eyes checked. I went to the eye doctor, my eyes are totally fine. I was able to see. But ever since this happened, I am always I'm going to my appointments. I go to I went to the ear doctor, the eye doctor, I go to the general physician. Like it is best you guys to stay on top of your health. Honestly, just try to stay on top of it. And F and M's, I'm always going to support and pray because your resilience is inspirational and touching. I also wanted to keep you in prayer and Bible study if you don't mind. Of course, there is never too much prayer. Wow, Drip said today's my last day in college. So you're gonna graduate, Drip? That's exciting. I'm very happy for you, Drip, that you graduating college. You guys, anything that you put your mind to, you can do. I feel like we ourselves be putting barriers on stuff and making it harder than what it really is. Okay, let me pull up this picture of the brain. And so I don't know if y'all have ever studied the brain. The brain is actually pretty fascinating and very, very important and very powerful. Okay, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong one. Okay, but up until I have surgery, I'm gonna be making content. I'm still be live streaming. When they told me about how I needed a third surgery, right? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I kind of like was a little bit depressed, and I kind of felt like giving up. But then I thought about it. I said, well, why should I give up now? Because what if I make it? I know I'm gonna make it, but I was just this how I was thinking. I'm like, dang, what if I make it and survive? then I spend this 6 months complaining and crying. I am not gonna have nothing. And I was like, let me just keep going, keep myself busy. And there is no reason to give up. Okay. So you guys see that there's different lobes of the brain. We have the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, the partial lobe, I occipital lobe, which all these different lobes of the brain deal with different stuff. My tumor is in the cerebellum, really close to the brain stem. And this is what makes it more like tricky to get to because this brain stem is very, very important and leads to your spine. And it's very, very, this is a tricky part of the brain. Now, the cerebellum deals with balance and coordination. Remember, I was telling you guys that before my surgery, I would stutter a lot. I believe, in my opinion, that it was due to the tumor in my cerebellum, which is the balance and coordination part of the brain. The brain is very powerful, can do a lot, and it's just amazing, honestly. So, and then the brain stem deals with breathing, heart rate, and temperature. After my surgery, they are going to put me on a liquid diet. And the reason they're going to put me on a liquid diet is because they want to make sure that I am able to chew. I'm breathing okay. They don't, you know what I'm saying? So after the surgery, I'll go into the ICU. They'll put me on a liquid diet. Um, the speech therapist is gonna have to come in and or the nurse or even the neurosurgeon will have to come in to okay me being able to eat food. The last time I had surgery, the doctor ordered that my bed be at a 90-degree angle and they slowly decreased the bed. So I'm not going to lay down right after surgery. I'm going to be sitting up. Very, very uncomfortable. And then you're in the ICU, it's all beeping and stuff. And then, friend of mine said, keep praying and stay in your studies with God. I'm praying for you also. And then Drip said he'd been in college for 5 years. Drip said, I have been having back problems since 12 because of my spine, which inner curve. It is chronic pain. I have healed before, but now it's back. It's so painful. And I can never get rid of it. There are a lot of different diseases. And that's why I say if you get a healthy baby, you should be very, very thankful. Very, very thankful. Don't be caught up in the crazy stuff. Okay, this is a complicated question to answer. Shout out to LT Boy. She came in there and asked me the other day. Okay, so the recovery period they say is about 3 to 6 months, right? I feel like it is a year, or it was a year last time before I felt normal again. But like I said, 8 months after my two brain surgeries, I did go back to school. But it took about a year before I really felt like myself. This time it will be different because last time was an emergency. I had some complications, but they're predicting that they're going to keep me in the hospital for a week and then send me to rehab. We will see. I will let you guys know on my community tab, or I'll make a short. I will let you guys know how things are going. And during it was my Greek yogurt parfait episode, I let you guys know that I feel like YouTube will actually be a good thing for me because I have to and going live because I have to read the comments and I have to reply. What they want me to do after surgery is they want me to be working to get my brain back online by having these conversations, by making my brain like work having to function and answer questions will actually be helpful. So, but I will let y'all know how everything is going. Don't worry, don't worry. And I'm also gonna take Blaze's advice by resting as well. Look, y'all never gonna see me jeopardize myself. It ain't that serious. But that's the brain. Those are the different lobes. And before I go into surgery, we're gonna go live. I'm gonna make content up until it's the time. You never know where these videos will end up, and you never know how things. You never know who these videos will help, which is why I'm gonna continue to make content. But okay, so you guys remember when they were talking about Medicaid, Medicaid, and they were talking about pre-existing conditions, right? And they were going back and forth because a lot of people that had pre-existing conditions were having a hard time with their Medicaid. This would be considered a pre-existing condition because I was born with it. But I did not know of this condition until I was 27. That also has given me a new look at the whole topic because we'll say that for another live stream. But y'all, we gotta talk about Medicaid and some of the rules that they got and the pre-existing. Fear No More said, yes, forget this, you have to heal. But you know what? I'm going to be sitting in the hospital for days and days. I'm gonna have plenty of time to heal. And then Gomez said, praise and blessings, have doctors simulate your brain lobe so you can enjoy spicy hot foods. Viva jalapenos. I was making steak bites the other day on my YouTube channel, and Gomez was like, where is the jalapenos? Where is the green chilies? And I was like, I do spicy foods like that. And thank you so much. Young Ray said, I'm glad you're alive today because your daughter has you. Yes, and I feel like we gotta wrap our arms around our children and we gotta do our best and be our best for our children. They are the future. They are the ones that are gonna have to live in the world that we create. So ask yourselves, do I want to create a bad world or do I want to create a good one? Do I want to be a part of the bad people or do I want to be a part of the good people? So, and shout out to Ava because Ava's the reason why we're all here anyway. She wanted to be a YouTuber first, and I was doing everything. I've always done everything I can to support her. And so when she when she said she wanted a YouTube channel, I knew I had to do all the editing. I had to do all the stuff. I actually got Canva and I just started making videos. So I am completely self-taught. And so I learned all this, you guys, 3 years ago. And I'm still learning as a content creator. But never give up. Never stop trying. Don't let the haters get to you. Um, yeah. Do y'all have any questions, chat? Y'all got any questions? So the healing process, 3 to 6 months. But with that being said, like I said, I went to Hawaii 5 months later. But even though I was in Hawaii, I was with my sisters. They wanted me to stay away from certain activities. And one of the things you can't do, I'm gonna be on light duty. They don't want me to lift over 10 pounds. So but I'm gonna still be here. It's all gonna work out. Oh, and the reason why I stated that I'll be dealing with this for the rest of my life is because I do have the VP shunt. Now, the VP shunt is like a permanent drain in my brain, so my brain cannot function on its own as far as in like regulating the pressure because all of our brains and spines are surrounded by CSF fluid, right? And our brains are able to regulate that fluid, right? But in some cases, when you have hydrocephalus, your brain cannot regulate that fluid on its own. So they put in the VP shunt. The VP shunt is a permanent drain. After the brain surgery, they are going to turn off the VP shunt and they're going to place a temporary drain in to drain all the stuff from the surgery, all like because they don't want to clog the drain. This is what the doctor told me. Um, Let me see if I can pull up another video for you guys really quick. Okay, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, sorry, Bree. So I'm gonna pull up another video. I hope this video has everything in it. So I have a video here on hydrocephalus I do want to share with you guys. I also want to find a video on how they readjust the shunt so I can show you guys that process as well. But I'm going to show you all this hydrocephalus video. Yes, make sure you hit the like. Like I said, not a medical doctor. I'm telling y'all what I think from my perspective as being the patient and having a little bit of medical knowledge. But I'll tell you guys, there is a reason why they go to school for so long, for years and years and years. There is definitely a reason why. Let me Okay. I'm gonna pull up a video on hydrocephalus. Take y'all back in. We're gonna learn some more.
Hydrocephalus is a buildup of cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, in the brain. This fluid surrounds the brain and spinal cord to cushion and support them. When there is a buildup of CSF, this can put pressure on the brain, which can lead to problems. Cerebral spinal fluid is made constantly by a tissue within the ventricles of the brain. The CSF circulates through the ventricles, down the spinal.
So this is how it looks, and you guys can see the bottom. This right here is what did I call it again? The brain stem. This is what leads to the spine, and this is what is so important. What the whole brain is important. The whole thing is important. But let me get that fair use pulled up here. Because I was playing my own video earlier, so I didn't have to put that. Let me get this up there.
Cord and over the surface of the brain. Once on the surface of the brain, CSF is reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. The creation, circulation, and reabsorption of CSF is a constant and steady cycle. Anytime there is a blockage, a problem with reabsorption, or overproduction of CSF, the fluid builds up and hydrocephalus occurs as a result. There are many causes of hydrocephalus. Some children are born with hydrocephalus, and sometimes the exact cause is never known. Other times, the cause can be identified, such as when there is a physical blockage in the fluid cycle or an associated medical problem known to cause a blockage. Blockages can be congenital, meaning they are present at birth, or they can be caused by lesions, such as brain tumors, infections, or cysts. Hydrocephalus is also associated with certain birth defects, such as spina bifida. Anyone can develop hydrocephalus. Children who are born with congenital hydrocephalus are often diagnosed before birth or during infancy. The typical signs and symptoms of hydrocephalus are associated with the increased pressure inside the brain and skull. Symptoms can include, and are not limited to, the following: worsening headaches, often associated with nausea and/or projectile vomiting, drowsiness and vision changes, and
See, this was after I had the first brain surgery. So I was already having some of these symptoms because of the brain surgery. So like the drowsiness, irritability, vision changes, I wouldn't have noticed that, or I wouldn't have been able to pinpoint that because I was thinking these were symptoms from the surgery.
irritability. You may see only 1 or 2 warning signs at a time. Signs and symptoms of hydrocephalus can be quite different in infants and toddlers. Because the bones of the skull are not yet fused together in this age group, they may show no signs other than a rapidly increasing head size. In infants with a cranial soft spot, a cranial ultrasound can be done to assess the fluid spaces. It can identify whether or not hydrocephalus is present, but is often not sensitive enough to help determine the cause. Often, a CT scan or MRI will also be necessary if hydrocephalus is present. At Children's Hospital Colorado, treatment of hydrocephalus typically includes the placement of a shunt. The body continues to produce cerebrospinal fluid even when there is a buildup, and a shunt is placed as an alternative pathway for the CSF. A shunt is a narrow and flexible tube that allows the CSF to leave the brain and go somewhere else in the body to get reabsorbed. Typically, the CSF is rerouted to the abdomen. In certain circumstances, instead of a shunt, the neurosurgeons can use a minimally invasive procedure.
So what I have is the VP shunt, and I can feel it like under the skin on my neck. So I can feel it, and I can feel the part of my head. Thank you so much, F&M. I was like, you know what? I studied this, and I actually looked up a lot of brain videos because it's different for me now because it's like I never would looked all this up, but because I have all this going on, I did my research, girl. I went and watched a lot of videos. I didn't know this, but apparently they got a hydrocephalus walk. I think we got a month. I didn't even know all this stuff. Oh, okay, Drip. Right, we see you out here. Yes, but I'm glad that you guys think that it's very informative. And I don't know about you, but me and my sister, we like to watch a lot of like random videos because you just never know. So I'm trying to find a video with the shunt because I have to get my shunt readjusted after an MRI, just because that's just what it is. Because when you do an MRI, there's magnets in the machine, and so what those magnets can do is they can throw off the pressure setting of my VP shunt. And the shunt is set to a certain setting for each person, right? And if the setting is not right, what will happen is I will start to get a lot of like headaches, which is what was happening when they first put it in. I was like, bro, my head is hurting so bad because the shunt was not set to the right setting. This setting, you know, it's recorded. Um, they write everything down in hospitals, but it's recorded, and so they know what setting to set it at, so I have the least amount of problems. And so if the VP shunt has to be reset after every MRI. So when I schedule my yearly MRIs, I schedule with the neurosurgeon right after so that they can readjust my shunt. I think this video might work. Let me see. Let me look at it real quick. I don't know. This might be too much. No, that I don't want to scare y'all now. But F&M said research, and she said they place that in after every surgery. No, they do not. And the reason why they don't place the shunt in after every surgery is because there are complications with having a shunt, or any like long-term medical device can have complications. So they were trying to avoid it, but then they had to place it in because I had the acute hydrocephalus. So the shunt is for the hydrocephalus. So they don't place it in after every surgery, only when they need to. Like if your brain is having issues with regulating the CSF fluid and regulating the pressure, and like what happens in our body is that the CSF fluid gets reabsorbed, right? But in certain cases, your brain is not reabsorbing any fluid. So what's happening is it's just building up, building up, building up, building up. And then you fall into the unconscious state. Your body may go into a coma. And so they put the VP shunt in to relieve the pressure if you have hydrocephalus. A lot of times, hydrocephalus is diagnosed by a CT scan or an MRI. In my case, I believe they did an MRI, and y'all, I was out for 3 days, but it was weird. It didn't even feel like 3 days. But Miss Solistic told me everything about what I was going through. I may not, and I was mixing that. I saw a video years ago, and now, okay, this video is perfect. This one's perfect. I'm gonna pull this place one for you guys. Okay, so not they don't place it after every surgery. They only will put it in there if you need it. Okay, I got one more video to share with you guys. Okay, so after every MRI, I have to have my shunt readjusted to make sure that it's set to the right setting so that it is working properly. This is a video of how the shunt readjustment looks like, or the shunt adjustment looks like. Okay, let's get that one up out of here. So we'll get the fair use back up here. Okay, y'all make sure I hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this video. Let us get back into it. This is what the shunt adjustment looks like. It's very weird. I don't know who thought of this machine. It's crazy.
Yep. And some of the goo. And that beep, beep, beep means it didn't like it. So we're going to try it again. Yep. With a little bit more goo. And we may have to do this a couple of times.
Yep.
And just because it didn't hear it doesn't mean we didn't.
Yep.
So
I was
this-
going to say I heard it click.
Yeah, so it may have, but I like having the confirmation if we can get that. Maybe put a little bit more of the goo in there. We're going to try that again. Can you hit the 60 for me? All right, we're going to try that one more time. If you heard it, that's probably more sensitive than this, but we're going to do that one more time. Try not to hurt you here, but I want to
Nope, you're good.
make sure
You can.
I move just a little bit while we're doing it.
So I'm going to play it one more time and I'm going to mute it and I'm going to walk you guys through what is going on here. This is exactly how it looks when they adjust my shunt. That has to be adjusted every time after I do an MRI because the magnetic field, I believe it's called, in the MRI can throw off the setting of my shunt and it will make it not work right. So this right here is the briefcase that I was telling y'all about. It's a briefcase, and in this briefcase is a machine that if you have a VP shunt is very important to us. So they put the goop on your head, and then they have to align the end of this. This right here has to be aligned with your shunt. And the machine will tell them when it is clicked back into place. The first time I got this done, I could actually feel it click in my head. It's crazy. And so during this time when they are readjusting your shunt, they want you to be absolutely quiet because they need to. It's a serious moment. It's everybody gotta be quiet. Sometimes you'll see them even turn off the light, and that is the sonogram jelly that's on the end of this. And what he's doing is looking at the machine because the machine will tell them when it is confirmed that it is set to the right setting. Everyone's shunt is going to be set to a different setting. And yeah, this is how the process pretty much looks. I was just like, who thought of this? But back to what Angela said when she first came in here. It is amazing at the technology and the things that they are able to do. It's really amazing. It's like, who would have thought of this? Okay, Drip, I see you. I see you. And F&M said, okay, I get it now. Look, it has taken me all this time, and there's still a lot of things that I am learning myself. And like I said, every surgery is different. So many different variables that go into it. But I am very thankful for all the technology God has given them. I'm very thankful for the doctors, for the medical team that I've had. I'm thankful that I even have medical insurance. Brain surgery is very expensive. So I'm very thankful for everything. Yeah. Okay. We talked about 2020. We talked about 2025, what it's looking like. I told y'all about the surgery that's coming up. Yes, this technology is very life changing. Yes, it is. And as time goes on, new devices and new methods will come out. And there are some things about the hospitals, in my opinion, that's a little shady, but there's some things I'm very thankful for. And neurosurgeons and heart surgeons are different than cosmetic doctors. It's different, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Yes, but the technology is very life changing. Do y'all have any questions? That's great. Trip said I'm gonna do a community-based project that helps young people because people need help out here, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help. You know, I know during this process I'm gonna need a lot of help. I do have a PCA worker. She's gonna, pick up her hours. My sister is gonna help me out. The kids Ava's out of school right now. We are planning to homeschool her for the next school year just to give us a little bit more flexibility with gymnastics and all my appointments I'm going to have. Now, I am going to have a lot of appointments. I have to do 3 different types of therapies. So, when we live stream, it'll probably be at night. I'm going to have a lot to do during the day. But y'all, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. We're gonna continue to pray. We're gonna continue to work, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna continue to work, and we're gonna keep going. But thank you, Angela. You know, I put together so when I went to school 8 months later, it was a different experience because when I had public speaking projects. The class was like amazed, and I was like happy that I was able to talk without stuttering. But I did one presentation on I think it was pharmaceuticals and marijuana. And y'all, they voted me the best presentation. But I was just so happy. But thank you so much, Angela. She said this was a good presentation. And there are more questions, more information. Like I said, this is 5 years of my life put into 2 hours. Yes. Yes, FNM. These are the good doctors, okay? Now, when you get into BBLs and the body parts, them doctors, in my opinion, this is only my opinion, y'all, they be out for money. But I don't think people are gonna want to operate on your heart or brain to get a check. And then FNM say, yes, a butt lift is different than brain surgery. Yes, definitely is. You can trust these people. And then Drip said 907 East, I can't imagine what your daughter is going through. You know what? It was so sweet. She'd be like, Mommy, you gonna be okay. You gonna have this surgery and you gonna be fine. Um, I'm happy that my sisters are around to be with my daughter, and my daughter absolutely loves her aunties. I'm very thankful for that. Um, but Ava is like very positive, very upbeat, and she be giving me hugs, and she be like, "Mommy, you're gonna be okay." And we're gonna keep her busy, and like I said, we're gonna do homeschooling for the next school year. It will be much better with her schedule and my schedule as well. And then F&M said, yes, it was very great and informative. You know what? I appreciate all of you guys saying that because I don't talk about myself a lot because there are so many other things in the world going on. Some people love to talk about themselves all day long. I am not one of those people. It is much easier for me to do a show talking about others, but when you have to discuss your own self, it is different for me. I'm not one of those people who like sit around and talk about myself all day. So these shows are a little bit more heavier. Um okay. Gonna do some live streams later on. And I have some things I want to talk about with y'all. I'm debating if we have time to hop off here and do another live stream talking about something else. That's what I'm debating. Or I might take a nap. I might come back later. We gonna see. But y'all make sure y'all have the notifications turned on so that when we do go live again, you get notified. Now, any more questions, feel free to comment down below this live and, ask your questions. I'm still going to be here. I'm going to be around. The original brain tumor video is on the video portion of my channel. And as I said, you are a strong person and have come through a lot in your life. You are strong enough to get through this third brain surgery. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. And F&M said, are you going to have a panel before you go for surgery? Do you mean like a panel on this subject, or do you just mean a panel in general? Yes, I have. Y'all, we're gonna have a busy weekend. I'm having brain surgery next Wednesday. I do plan to do a lot of shows. I'm working on some content for Ava's Playtime. So we got some new videos coming out on Ava's Playtime. I uploaded some video or a short on my third channel. Time for Tea at 907 Goodies. But yes, I am gonna have a panel before I go to surgery. I wasn't gonna have it on this subject though. um Thank you so much. And I love talking to you guys because you guys are so positive, and I need to hear that, and I appreciate that as well. I really do. I would say like having this community on YouTube and Facebook, but really YouTube has helped me out so much. And I love y'all. I love you guys. I really do, and my family loves y'all too. At first, when I started YouTube, y'all, they was laughing at me. They didn't get it. You know why they didn't get it? Because God gave me the vision. I feel like God told me I had to help people, and I wasn't really sure like how I was gonna help people. I didn't really know, but now I feel like I'm supposed to help people through media, whether that be with cooking lessons, whether that's, talking about a certain subject, or, even with my children's content. That's how I'm supposed to help people, is what I believe God has put me on this earth to do, which is to help people. And thank you so much, Jay Rizzo. He said, this toy I didn't laugh. Oh, okay. Like an uplifting panel, I'm going to send you a message in Discord. Okay. I am not on the Discord that much, but I'll get back on there and check it out. You know what, FNM? Yeah, that's a good idea, like an uplifting panel. We did do men's mental health where we talked about, mental health, and that panel, it was uplifting. But I have not thought about the idea that this is why I love y'all for the game, because y'all be coming up with content ideas for me. I got some come fight with uplifting panel. F&M, you gotta, take charge and all that stuff. Maybe we could do something together. And F&M said, love you 907. You are a blessing. God has his hands on your life. I definitely believe that. And after my surgeries, I always thought to myself, like, God gave me another chance at life, and like I never wanted to wake up or, heal and recover and then not utilize the time that I have on this earth. And I just had this feeling over my heart and my mind that I was supposed to help people, but I did not understand how. And like I said, sometimes in life, you may not understand the how or the why. And then I thought about it. I kept talking to God, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, how am I supposed to help people? You know? And he said, you got to help them by the media. That's how you can help people. And I was like, that's a good idea. So here I am, y'all. Here I am. And happy birthday, Jay Rizzo. What you doing today? What you doing today? But y'all, that's it for this live stream. We talked about I need surgery, and this is why. I walked you guys through 2020 up until this point. I even showed you guys the MRI of my brain. And shout out to Blaze. I think I saved this count. Because I was saying, what other content creator is going to show you their brain? And Blaze said, this is what Blaze said. Yeah. This is what Blaze said. He said 907. Now you know good and well enough. A lot of these people can't show us their brain because they don't have one. Blaze is so funny. And F&M said yes. Now I said I'm going live Monday afternoon. I would love if you stop by also. I will try my best. Try my best. I gotta look at my calendar and see if I'm doing anything on Monday. But see, shout out to F&M, another great content creator. Y'all gotta subscribe to F&M. Be up there for like 10 hours. Look, I got about 3-4 hours and I'm done. I gotta get to the next subject. um, but thank you guys all so much. Leave a comment down below after this live stream ends. And like I said, we are going to be going live later on today. Not sure what we are going to be doing, but we're going to be doing something. My final thoughts are, you guys know what I always say, never give up, keep going, keep trying, because if God has not given up on you, why would you give up on yourself? Is how I feel about it. There are going to be good days and bad days. This right here is a good day because I'm still up, I'm still talking, I'm still able to move around, I'm still able to, do these live streams, take care of my daughter. These are good days, okay? I don't want y'all to, feel too bad. And then yes, Blaze is a mess, but that was so funny how to say that comment. He said they ain't got no brains. But this is a good day. It's been a good couple of years. There's some bad days, sad days, but overall, I'm very blessed to have made it all this time. And I'm going to continue to make it. And I'm happy that I've been able to be here for my daughter. And she is thriving, okay? I did her hair the other day, so when y'all see Ava, she brand new. And Gomez said you should change your channel name to Brain Food. You know what? I never thought of that, but brain food don't sound that appetizing. Does that sound good to y'all? That don't sound appetizing to me. Yes, if God has not given up on you, do not give up on yourself. Keep fighting, continue to keep just trying and do never give up. You know what? I was like, I don't even know what giving up looks like. I don't even know what I would do if I was to give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that thought never crossed my mind. And there are some days where I'm like, dang, all this is going on. But I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Give up? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that even look like? So, but we're not going to think about it. We're going to keep going. We're going to be good. Thank you guys all for tuning into this live stream. I will see y'all in the next one. But thank you so much to everybody that came through. I'm finna hit y'all with the outro video, and I will see y'all down in the comment section. So y'all have a great day. Stay prayed up. Continue to pray, and it's all gonna be all right. We gotta take it one day at a time. Peace. Oh, my hand disappeared. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all on the next one. Foodie gang, gang, gang. 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 This is Chef Big Bank. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment down below. Join the channel and receive exclusive perks, emojis, and so much more. I will see y'all on the next one. Don't forget, Foodie Gang Gang Gang. Foodie Gang Gang Gang.